I need some space to figure myself out. No contact for a while, okay? That's what she told me, her eyes avoiding mine as she threw those words out so casually. Honestly, I thought it was just stress from work, or something going on in her head that she wasn't ready to share. We'd been together for almost 3 years. We were planning to move in together by the end of the year. So, hearing her say she wanted a break, it hit me like a punch to the chest. But I respected her. I thought maybe she was overwhelmed, and if this was what she needed to get her mind right, I wasn't going to stand in her way. So I did exactly what she asked. I didn't call. I didn't text. I didn't watch her stories or stalk her socials like some obsessed boyfriend. I just focused on work, gym, my friends, trying to keep myself distracted while my mind kept whispering that this was just temporary. That she would come back. Then, about a week later, I was scrolling through Facebook, trying to avoid anything that would remind me of her, when I saw it. Her mom had tagged her in photos from their family vacation. At first, I felt relief. I thought, good, she's spending time with her family, maybe this is helping her clear her head. But then I clicked on the album. That's when my stomach twisted into knots. There he was. Her high school ex. The same guy she used to tell me stories about, how he broke her heart back then, how toxic he was, how she never wanted to see him again. And there he was, standing right beside her in almost every photo, his arm around her like they were some happy couple reunited after years apart. I just sat there staring at the screen, my chest tight, my throat dry. That's when I realized she didn't need space to find herself. She needed space to see if he was still an option. I didn't text her some long emotional message. I didn't wait around crying. I packed up all her stuff, every last hoodie and skincare bottle she left at my place, and shipped it straight to her parents' house. Then I opened my phone, went straight to Facebook, and changed my relationship status to single. A week later, she called me, her voice soft and sweet, saying, "Hey, I'm ready to talk now." But what I told her next, it wasn't what she expected. I let her call go to voicemail that first time. Honestly, I didn't even want to hear what she had to say. But as I sat there staring at my phone, a flood of memories rushed through my mind. I remembered the first time we met at that coffee shop downtown. She was sitting by the window, scribbling in her journal with her hair tied up messily, and she gave me this small shy smile when I asked if I could sit beside her. I remembered how she'd text me after work, telling me about her day, how she'd vent about annoying coworkers or laugh about random memes. I remembered all those late nights when we stayed up talking about our dreams, our fears, our plans for the future. But now, all of that felt like a lie. Because while I was busy believing every promise she made, she was out there reconnecting with someone she once claimed ruined her life. It made me wonder if everything she ever said to me about him was twisted. Was she still hung up on him the entire time we were together? Or did he just swoop back in at the perfect time when she was feeling bored or restless? My friends told me to just block her and move on. My sister said, "Don't give her the satisfaction of knowing you care." But it wasn't about care. It was about respect, for myself. I didn't want to just disappear without giving her a glimpse of what she threw away so easily. I wanted her to hear in my voice that I wasn't broken, that I wasn't waiting around like a backup plan while she explored her options. That evening, I went for a long walk around the block, trying to calm the storm in my chest. Every step felt heavy as I replayed her words over and over. I need space, no contact. Meanwhile, she was posting vacation selfies with the same guy she once cried about. It was like a movie scene I never wanted to star in. When I finally got back home, I saw her name flash across my phone screen again. This time, I picked up. Her voice was soft, almost careful, like she knew she was treading on thin ice. "Hey, I'm ready to talk now," she whispered, as if nothing had happened. I took a deep breath, my heart pounding, and said, "Oh really? Now you're ready?" But before she could respond, I paused, wondering, did she even feel guilty for what she did, or was she just bored with him already? She hesitated for a moment on the phone, and I could almost hear her thinking about what to say next. "Yeah," I needed time to clear my head, she said softly, as if she was the victim in all this. I didn't say anything. I just let the silence grow between us. That's when she started rambling, telling me how the trip was unexpected, how her mom invited him because his family was close to theirs, and how it wasn't what it looked like. As she spoke, I could hear a small tremble in her voice, like she was scared of what I was thinking about her. But the more she tried to explain, the more I realized she wasn't sorry for what she did. She was just sorry she got caught. While she kept talking, my mind drifted back to a week before she asked for that break. I remembered we were lying on the couch watching Netflix. She kept checking her phone and smiling at random notifications. Back then, I thought it was just her friends sending memes, but now I wondered if it was him, slipping back into her life without me noticing. Maybe she was already planning this break, while I was sitting beside her, rubbing her feet and planning date nights. That thought hit me harder than anything else. As she continued to defend herself, telling me how nothing happened, and how she missed me every day, I wondered if she truly believed her own words. Because while she was finding herself on a beach with her high school ex, I was losing sleep every night, thinking about what I could have done to make her stay. I glanced at the boxes by my door, the last of her stuff I hadn't shipped yet. Her favorite hoodie, the one she always wore on cold nights. Her perfume bottle, still half full. Part of me wanted to throw them out. Another part of me wanted to send them to her with a note that said, "Here's everything you left behind, including me." But instead I stayed quiet, letting her speak. She kept saying, "I just needed time. I just needed space." Over and over like a broken record. I wondered if she really thought that after everything, I'd welcome her back with open arms. Because at that moment, the only thing I felt was emptiness, and a cold sense of clarity about what I had to do next. I could hear her breathing on the phone, waiting for me to say something. But I stayed silent, letting the heaviness of everything hang in the air. Finally she sighed, her voice cracking as she whispered, "Can I come over so we can talk face to face?" The thought of seeing her again made my chest tighten. A week ago, I would have said yes in a heartbeat, desperate to fix whatever was broken between us. But now I wasn't sure if there was anything left to fix. I walked over to the window, staring out at the quiet street lit by the pale orange streetlights. My mind raced with questions. Was she coming back because things didn't work out with him? Did she feel guilty seeing my status switch to single? Or was this just her way of keeping me as her backup plan while she figured out her feelings for him? As she waited for my answer, I thought about his smug smile in those vacation photos, his arms draped around her like she was his prize. I wondered if he knew about me, about how she spent 3 years building a life with someone else while he was just a memory from her past. Or maybe she painted me out to be the bad guy to make herself feel better about what she was doing. "I don't know if that's a good idea," I finally said, my voice low and calm. She fell silent for a few seconds before letting out a small sob. "Please! I just want to explain everything properly," she said, her words shaky and desperate now. I closed my eyes and felt a lump form in my throat. Part of me wanted to hear her out, to understand why she did what she did. Another part of me felt like there was no explanation that would ever make this okay. As she cried softly on the phone, I thought about all the times I was there for her when life got hard, all the times I put her first without thinking twice. And yet, when it was her turn to protect what we had, she ran straight back to someone who once broke her. "I'll think about it," I said quietly, ending the call before she could say anything else. My hands were shaking as I set the phone down. My heart was racing, my mind screaming 1,000 things at once. Because deep down, I knew that whatever happened next would change everything forever. The next morning, I woke up to dozens of messages from her. Long paragraphs filled with apologies, explanations, and desperate pleas to talk. I ignored them and got ready for work, trying to clear my head. But just as I was about to leave, my phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't her. It was one of my old college friends, Daniel. We hadn't talked in months, but his message only had a screenshot attached. My heart sank as I opened it. It was a post from her high school ex's Instagram. The caption read, "Glad to be back with my girl after all these years. Always knew she was the one." My chest tightened so hard I could barely breathe. In the photo, he was kissing her cheek while she smiled at the camera, her hand on his chest like they'd been together forever. And the worst part? The post was dated 2 weeks ago, right before she asked me for a break. My ears started ringing as anger rose in my chest. So it wasn't just a harmless vacation reunion. She was already his before she even left me. Everything she said about finding herself was just an excuse to slide back into his arms without feeling guilty. Or maybe she thought she'd keep me on standby in case it didn't work out with him. The realization made my blood boil. I sat down on the edge of my bed, staring at the photo, feeling like my world was tilting sideways. That's when my phone buzzed again. Another message from her, but this one was different. "I need to tell you something important before you hear it from someone else," she wrote. My hands shook as I read her next line. "I'm pregnant, and I don't know who the father is." For a moment, everything went silent in my head. Pregnant? My vision blurred as I tried to process her words. Suddenly, all the anger turned into something deeper, heavier, betrayal layered with confusion and fear. Was she trying to pull me back by dropping this bombshell? Or was this her way of forcing me to talk to her again? I didn't respond. I couldn't. My entire chest felt hollow as I set the phone down and buried my face in my hands. Because in that moment, I realized this wasn't just about heartbreak anymore. It was about my entire future being twisted into something I never saw coming. And I had no idea what I was supposed to do next. I sat there for almost an hour, staring at the floor in complete silence. My mind kept repeating her words like an echo I couldn't shut off. Pregnant. Didn't know who the father was. It felt like my chest was being crushed from the inside out. Finally, I grabbed my phone and called her. She picked up instantly, her voice trembling as she said, "Hello?" I took a deep breath to steady myself before I spoke. "Is it mine?" I asked, my voice so calm it scared even me. She went silent for a moment, then started crying. "I don't know. I really don't know," she whispered between sobs. The rage inside me mixed with heartbreak, swirling until I felt completely numb. "When were you going to tell me?" I asked quietly. I wanted to be sure first. I was scared," she said, her voice breaking. I closed my eyes, feeling everything I had ever felt for her dissolve into emptiness. "Get the paternity test done," I said firmly. She cried harder, begging me not to cut her off, saying she needed me now more than ever. But I couldn't listen to it anymore. The girl I once trusted with my entire heart was gone, replaced by someone I didn't recognize at all. A week later, she messaged me with the test results. I didn't even feel nervous when I opened the attachment. I had already prepared myself for anything. But as I read the report, my chest tightened in a way I wasn't expecting. "It was mine." She called me right after. Her voice was soft and hopeful, telling me how we could fix everything now, how this was a sign we were meant to be together. But I didn't feel happiness. I didn't feel relief. All I felt was trapped. She was asking me to forget everything she did, to pretend like none of it happened because now there was a baby involved. I told her I'd take responsibility as a father, but I would never be her boyfriend again. She went silent, and then she said something that chilled me to my core. "If you're not with me, I'll tell everyone you abandoned your child before they were even born." That's when I realized the truth. This wasn't about love. This wasn't about regret. This was about control. And as I hung up the phone, my heart pounded with one clear thought. I needed to protect my child, but I also needed to protect myself from her. Because the girl I once loved had turned into someone I barely even knew, and that was the real betrayal. After that call, I spent the entire night thinking about what to do. I knew I couldn't be with her, no matter how many threats she made or how desperate she became. But I also knew I couldn't just walk away from my child. I called my older brother for advice. He had gone through a rough divorce years ago and understood how complicated these things could get. He told me straight. Get a lawyer involved before she ruins your life completely. Do everything legally from now on. Protect your rights as a father. So the next morning, I did exactly that. I found a family lawyer and explained everything. He listened carefully and told me that if she tried to lie about me abandoning the baby, there would be proof that I had been involved from the start. He helped me draft a message to her, explaining that I would be there for the baby but all further communication would go through him. When I sent her that text, she called me immediately, screaming and crying, saying I was cruel, that I didn't love her anymore, that I was ruining her life. I just hung up and blocked her number. From that day onwards, everything went through my lawyer. Weeks passed, and I finally felt like I could breathe again. Work became my focus, and I started spending time with friends I had neglected during my relationship. At night, I still thought about the baby, wondering if it was a boy or girl, what they'd grow up to be like, whether they'd have my eyes or my smile. I promised myself that no matter what, I would always be there for them. But I wouldn't let their mother use them as a weapon to trap me into a life I didn't choose. Months later, when she sent me the first ultrasound photo through the lawyer, I felt something shift inside me. There was a tiny little human growing in this world who would one day call me Dad. And despite everything that happened, I knew that was something beautiful I could hold on to. Looking back now, I realize love isn't just about holding on to someone because you're scared of letting go. Sometimes, real love is protecting yourself and walking away from people who use your feelings as their safety net. She taught me a hard lesson, one that hurt more than anything I've ever felt. But in the end, it gave me clarity, strength, and a reason to be a better man for my future child, and for myself.